Hey guys, and welcome to Beating the Press podcast, your weekly podcast where we talk all things football. If that's your type of thing, why not click the like, subscribe, all that good stuff down below and join the BTP army. We must be around about, maybe 120 strong now, something like
More than
that.
that, more than that. We're going well
More.
above that, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously, we're doing a lot on our fantasy football team. We'll be updating that as of, I think, maybe next week. We'll see how
Next
we're all
week, yeah.
doing. Yeah, but today we wanted to talk about a special individual who has just joined the Premier League. We recently done a podcast on Cristiano Ronaldo, spoiler alert, on the last podcast, and it was just a tribute to him actually joining Man United. But we had a podcast planned a few weeks back when Cristiano Ronaldo broke the all-time international goal scoring record. And with everything that's went on, this kind of got a little bit delayed. And basically, what we wanted to discuss was, is Cristiano Ronaldo the greatest number nine of the modern era? Now, obviously, we're going to say modern era because we can't necessarily go into, the likes of Pele, for example. He wasn't around when,
Yeah.
when we were kids. We're going to be judging the likes of, the Luis Suarez. We're going back a little bit to the early 2000s. So we're going to take it from around about the year 2000 all the way up to 2020. So again, we're just going to judge whether we think Cristiano Ronaldo is a number nine. Now, obviously, the best number nine. So obviously that discounts Messi. Before we even start it, we're not going to do the Cristiano Ronaldo the Messi debate. So if that's what you're here to listen to, just move on to another video. So because obviously, for reasons being obviously tight, this is obviously tight. Explain why the differences between a number nine and number 10 for anyone who's just come onto the planet.
Yeah, so, Cristiano Ronaldo, hi everyone, by the way. First, Cristiano, number nine, he's converted himself into a number nine in the last few years. So Ronaldo, when he first started, number nine is a centre forward, who generally is a penalty box player looking to score most of the goals for the team. Number 10 is predominantly probably what Messi is, even though he can play pretty much anywhere across the front three as a false nine. But number 10 is slightly withdrawn, is more of a creative player, can score the odd goal, but most of the goal scoring is done by a nine. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo's a very unique footballer, special footballer. When he first came into us, onto our screens, early 2000s, sort of mid 2000s, when he went to Man United and from Sporting Lisbon, so he was a winger. He could play as a 7, which is a right winger, 11 as a left winger, and they were the two positions he played. And he played those positions for the majority of his career, probably the last sort of 3 or 4 years when he's got a bit older. He's become more a nine, more a penalty box kind of player. If you watch his goals recently, he doesn't really get involved in the build-up of many goals, but he's there to finish, and they're all types of finishes: left foot, right foot, head, penalties, anything. So that's the main difference. And we're not going to compare Messi and Ronaldo. That's a debate that'll just go on even after they're both dead. That'll just go on for on and on and on. So we're not going to. That's not what this podcast is about. It's about Ronaldo. Is he the best number nine in the modern era? Now we've got to take obviously consideration he wasn't. He's only been a nine for a very short space of time. So it's trying to delve deep into that and talk about some of the other nines. The current modern. We're talking Lewandowski, who's got ridiculous numbers. Alan Shearer before that. They're proper number nines. Now Ronaldo's is such a good player, such a unique player that he's gone from a brilliant winger to now making the case for the greatest number nine of all time. Obviously, we're not going to talk about Pele and stuff, but as him, his numbers are obviously ridiculous. So it's just a slightly different take on Ronaldo. I hope that explains it for everyone.
Yeah. So before we answer, give our opinions on whether we think he's the greatest number nine of the modern era, what we normally do is, we don't plan any of our videos. Ty will tell you he's not seen anything that I've prepared for this video. It's never scripted. So while I was doing the original research for the original video, I came across like a random video, and the random video was the top 10 strikers in the last 20 years. And it basically gave us like a time lapse of the best scorers over the top 5 leagues between the years 2000 and 2020. It's a great video. I'm going to put the link down below. Basically, what we're going to do, because it's so easy to forget how many great strikers there were over the last 20 years, this is going to give us a little bit of a a jog down memory lane just to give us an idea who we can compare him to, and also give you guys a good idea of who you think is the best number 9. And you can put your comments down below whether you agree, disagree, and we're just going to comment on those things. So I'm just going to switch over to that video and we're just going to go through that. Yeah, so as discussed, this is the best scorers of the top 5 league between the year 2000 and 2020. And as you can see, we start off in the year 2000 to 2001. You start off initially with Crespo, Raul, Shevchenko, Hasselbank, Rivaldo, Anderson, Barbares, and Chiesa. Straight away, Ty, reactions on some of them names?
Yeah, I mean, Rivaldo's not a 9; he's more of a 10. Chiesa, his son's obviously doing really pretty at the moment. I remember Anderson as well. I remember them all. Hasselbank, I mean, let's not fuck about. There's the top 3 are the only 3 that are really going to be in the conversation of Crespo, Raul, Shevchenko. And again, Raul was never an out-and-out 9. He sort of dropped off quite a bit as well. Shevchenko, yes. I think Crespo, I think for those sort of older viewers, if you remember Crespo, he had some of the best movement for a 9 that I've ever seen. I remember when he came to the Premier League and they were analysing his movement, it's ridiculous. So sharp off the shoulder of defenders. Yeah, so those 3 that stand out was Crespo, Raul, Shevchenko as 9s. Valdo was obviously a phenomenal footballer, but those top 3,
yeah. Obviously, it's going to be the best scorers, so it is going to include like a few number 10s, number 9s. But like we're obviously going to be focusing on the number 9s. But it is interesting to see some of the old names that you remember, especially if you're a PES player back in the day or a Football Manager player. It's just so good to see. And like you said, Crespo, oh God, that night went in Champions League final where obviously 3-0 down. It just looked like it was going to be a cricket score, especially with them up top. It was absolutely phenomenal. So, as you can see, I'm going to let it play for around about 10 seconds, and then you can see the general movement of it. So you'll see in the bottom right, the years change as it goes on, and you'll start to see some new faces coming along. So you've got Christian Vieri coming up there, just dropped back out.
So Thierry Henry is obviously going to be, So these are the players I remember, but I think in terms of actual people that are in the conversation, they're the ones, you know what I mean? So I think, Vieri, Henry, Hasselbank, Michael Owen, potentially, but I wouldn't really be hanging my hat on him to, so he won the Ballon d'Or as well, didn't he, Michael Owen? So it's not.
He did,
I don't think, I think it's a tough one to. I think we're talking absolute elite players. He had too many injuries and couldn't really be. I think Raul's obviously had a phenomenal record in the Champions League. He will be in the conversation. Vieri, I think at one point he had look at the clubs he's had there. He was like the most expensive player in terms of transfer fees. And then you've obviously got Thierry Henry, World Cup winner, and doing a lot. Do you know what I mean? And European Championship winner as well.
For those of the viewers that are quite young, what do you remember of Christian Vieri? What type of players do you remember him being?
So Vieri was a brute, unbelievable touch, big, strong, left-footed player. Could head, had an unbelievable left foot, could finish, both feet. He was a throwback. I mean, we're looking back now, he'd be a throwback. Haaland, him and Haaland, he's very similar to Haaland. That's probably a good way to describe him. We're obviously going to see, how Haaland's career moves on and goes. But Vieri, I mean, you look at the clubs there. He was in both Milan clubs. He went to Spain as well. I can't remember which Spanish team. He was obviously for the Italy national team as well. So he was a really top player.
He didn't have a typical footballer's physique, did he? He was more like a MMA fighter. He was
so strong, but he had such a delicate touch as well. And wow, he had some power behind that left foot as well. And then obviously Thierry Henry one. He's obviously popular now with punditry and assistant manager for Belgium. But just let the viewers know for the younger ones anyway, who Thierry Henry was and who potentially is similar to now. I can think of one player who's very similar to right now. But who would you think?
I'm going to go with Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah, I was thinking Mbappe. There's obviously slight differences, but I'd say there's obviously a lot of, again, Vieri, Haaland, there's probably differences, but there's a lot of similarities as well. It's just the easiest way to sort of compare.
Yeah, well, Thierry Henry was, I'd say he's probably my favourite ever Premier League player. Obviously, if you take away the usual allegiance to Liverpool, he was my favourite non-Liverpool player. He's going to be up there towards the end of my thinking of who's going to be the best number 9. But again, there's Michael Owen coming on the scene. I think he came on the scene maybe around about 3 years before that. Before now, I think this is maybe even the year where he maybe single-handedly won the
FA
Cup.
Cup.
The FA Cup. So as you'll see coming along here, Owen maybe might start creeping a little bit, but Thierry Henry pretty much takes over for a few years.
We got Roy Mackay there and Giovanni Elba. These players aren't great, but it's just good to, like I said, a good jog down memory lane to see some of the 9s that have played in yesteryear. I mean, what the fuck's Jibril Cisse doing there? Get him off that screen. I'm glad Shevchenko's back up there. So yeah. I mean, a lot of these players moved as well. They moved to a lot of clubs. You look at the number of clubs they have. Ronaldo's stayed with the same club for a long time. The big one coming on there, Sammy Eto'o, obviously phenomenal goal scoring record. A great player as well. The interesting one coming on there just now, Francesco Totti, who's again is a number 10, but his goals were just brilliant. And he's a proper one. You talk about one club man. He just stayed with Roma for his entire career, didn't he? I don't know. Did he go somewhere else when he finished? Did he go to Saudi Arabia or something? I don't know. But he was there for his majority. He was like Gerrard. They were there for.
Yeah.
They sort of left when they were they were on the bench or they were just wanted to try another experience. But one club man, phenomenal player.
When you're talking significant leagues, he was really a one club man. Like you say, like Gerrard, you wouldn't consider him an MLS legend.
Yeah.
He was a Liverpool player throughout his career. But like you say, Mackay and Paoletta, they're pretty much there on longevity more than anything else. You see the others that are coming through here, like Van Nistelrooy, what a player he was. As far as lethal finishing goes, and fox in the box striker, he was phenomenal, wasn't he?
Proper number. He was a proper number 9. You know what I mean? Like top notch. You're talking about 9s, and he'd be absolutely in the conversation.
Yeah, and then obviously, like you said there, Samuel Eto'o, he was something special, especially coming through in that Barcelona team. It must have been a dream to play with the players that he played for, but he never looked out of place. And obviously, Jimmy, Middlesbrough legend, is just chilling there on the bottom step. I don't think he's going to stay there for much longer. But again, another quality forward. He was quality back in the day, especially when he was at Chelsea. Coming through from Atletico. But yeah, hell of a shot on him. But we'll play it on a little bit longer. Actually, Thierry Henry again, just extending that lead at the top there. So for a number of years, Thierry seemed to be like the number 1, number 9 striker.
Yeah.
There we are.
And there's the main man coming down at the bottom.
He's went off.
Out the original Ronaldo, the greatest. R9. There's only one R9. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, Ronaldo, phenomenal. And then Luca Toni, for me, the old Italian legend in 2006. He certainly came up to trumps and to win World Cup.
So he was another one that wasn't a stereotypical build as far as forwards go. I remember
you'd imagine him as a proper non-league striker, wouldn't you? Lump it up to him, but he had a hell of a touch. He was a good player. Do you know what I mean? And Trezeguet, obviously, top. Trezeguet was always probably a better 9 than Henry, but Henry had more he could do around the box. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the box, Trezeguet was more sort of clinical and more a proper 9. But I mean, we just need to get rid of Paoletta and Roy Mackay. I'm not even just fucking up my keep playing. See if we can get them out. No, it's just Raul's back in game. But yeah, I've just.
So, just one thing on that. Did Raul surprise you that he wasn't necessarily? He's not necessarily pushing up too much. Like obviously he's a Real Madrid legend. I'm pretty sure we probably will see him at some point. I'm not sure as to why, but how do you rate Raul amongst the greats?
Brilliant. I mean, you talk about players that stay with the club. I'm fairly sure he stayed with Real for most of his career. He might have left towards the end. He did. I think he did. He might have gone to Schalke or somewhere. I'm just trying to think. But yeah, he was just a brilliant player, quality for Spain. I just felt for him, he sort of finished playing and he just sort of fell off when Spain became good. and he never got that reward of winning a major tournament with Spain. Same with Maldini. He never actually won the World Cup or European Championships with Italy. He was just unfortunate. Raul was the same, you know what I mean? I just thought, yeah, I mean, he will go down as an all-time great. You know, we're going through names here, you know, that will go through all time. I mean, on that list we're looking at now, I go Totti, Henry, and Eto'o as all-time greats. You know what I mean? We're talking about players there, and I'd definitely put Raul in that as well.
Yeah, David Villa creeping onto the list there. I remember him. He was obviously a number 9 come through at Valencia. That team, David Silva, and it was someone else in that trio. David Silva,
David Albelda, wasn't it?
Yes.
Mendieta.
Yes.
Mendieta was there as well.
Yeah.
So I just think David Villa can't be in the conversation because when he played for Spain, he was stuck out on the left wing. He was never sort of trusted to play down the middle. I mean, I imagine Fernando Torres will be coming on this list at some point. So Torres was just, you know, he was the main man when they did play with a 9, and obviously they moved as the years went on. They played with that sort of false 9s, didn't they? Let's just play these through and see who else we got. I'm just waiting for Mackay and Pauletta to fuck off, and then we can get proper. There we go. Fernando Torres joins the party. I like that 2009.
So obviously, you've got the 2 guys popping up here. We've got Thierry Henry. He had a long lead at the top, and now it's coming to an end. You've got Samuel Eto'o catching him up very quickly. Obviously, Van Nistelrooy, I don't imagine he's going to be around much longer after that. And then Totti, I think he's about to start treading water also. But as we said, the 2 guys are about to join the party. So let's see how this goes.
So these are the numbers now, aren't they? So Ronaldo's just numbers are just going through the roof. I mean, we're talking 9s, and Messi's obviously. But these guys, they're not 9s. You know, these are players that are. You know, they were effectively wingers, weren't they? I mean, Ronaldo started was playing on the left, from the left. Messi started from the right, and then obviously as you know, it moved on, he ended up being a false 9, which effectively meant play wherever the fuck you want. Your name's Ronaldo Messi, and then everyone else has come up with, it's a false 9.
So something I've got to say on these numbers, these are all league goals. So obviously they don't include any kind of international, they don't include any kind of cup games or the Spanish Cup or anything like that. Yeah, it's just purely league games. But as you can see, Cristiano Ronaldo just flew to the top of the scoring chart, particularly obviously once he joined Real Madrid, overtook Thierry Henry, who was there for quite a long time, and Messi's about to follow suit along with the 2 of them. But it just goes to show the level that those 2 guys were at, in the swiftness that they moved from where they were. You've seen how long it effectively took Samuel Eto'o to get up to there and Thierry Henry to get up there, but Cristiano Ronaldo's curve was massive, and then Messi's not so much, but then it takes off.
I mean, the reason why they're so high is because they were scoring 40, 50 goals a season. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous numbers. You know, that's why they have gone there. And the consistency they showed, it wasn't just the one-off, it was consistency. You know, we talk about great players. Great players are those ones that consistently do it over a sustained period of time, and that's why them 2 got the numbers they have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it back 5 seconds, and we're just gonna see it through.
That's just bonkers.
Right, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. And now look at the extend that gap.
Yeah. I mean, Ibrahimović turns up as well. He's a top class number 9. You know what I mean? You talk about great. He's still going at 38, 39, however he was. I always like it when you get an older player. I'm 38. I still try to play. When I see Ibrahimović, I'm like, I'm all right. If he can do it, you know what I mean? I can have a go. Obviously, like a million different levels, you know. But still, it's just good to see. And the way
it is good to see, because you always think that, growing up, players are always older than you. You know, you think, even though Steven Gerrard's, around about the same age as us, you always think, he's older than us. But in reality, he's probably a little bit younger than us. Yeah. As you get older, you do draw comparisons with yourself and think, can I do it? And, to be doing it every day, week in, week out, like the likes of Ibrahimović, and obviously Ronaldo, I imagine he's going to follow suit like Ibrahimović. It's phenomenal. And that obviously goes down to the diet and everything like that in the modern game compared to the ones that started off on the list. So obviously you've got Di Natale there.
I thought Di Natale fine. He's an Udinese legend. He was at Udinese for donkey's years. He was very much in the sort of Thierry Henry mold, the way he played. Always liked playing in that left-hand channel. Played as a 9, but in that left-hand channel, and he played for Italy as well. Scored in major tournaments. I think he scored against Spain in the 2014. Was it? It was one of the European Championships, or one of the major tournaments against Spain. But he was just a good 9, good one of those top players that played stuck throughout the majority of their career.
Yeah, so now we're moving into 2012, 2013, and this is where the numbers start to really ramp up, and you start to see the difference in the top 2 and the rest.
I mean, I'm sort of expecting the top 2 to. I mean, they're just going flying through. I'm just looking down at the bottom, see if we get any other newbies like
any new ones.
New ones just coming up. The numbers built before. I mean, you're talking Di Natale's numbers in Serie A are brilliant. I mean, they're not going up massively, but fucking hell. I mean, there's Wayne Rooney popping up.
Yeah, what's quite impressive that I've noticed, I only noticed on this video, is Ibrahimović at the time was keeping pace with them. So again, that must be going through his peak years. Again, top quality. Like you said there, Rooney's joining the bottom. Rooney, number 9, number 10, he's more of a 10, would you say?
Yeah, but he played as a 9. He also played wide, and he was one of those players that had the flexibility to play anyway. I mean, I remember Man United was sort of, the late 2000s when they were really good, when they had him, Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez. You used to find Rooney sometimes got pinged out wide, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? Just to sort of accommodate Tevez, because he could do a job. And then obviously later on in his career, he played like as the holding midfielder. So it was unfortunate. He's one of those honest players, but he was really good. If you left him as a 9, even in his pomp, he was more of a 9.5 than a 9. Do you know what I mean? One of those players that just sort of play off, and there's not always as a, straight breaking the lines, trying to sort of, shoulder a last defender sort of job.
Yeah. So moving on to 2015, 2016. So we're coming towards the end of it now. So is there going to be any more creeping onto the list?
Oh yeah, he's a good one. Higuain and Cavani, those 2 absolute. Yeah, they're coming up. They're absolutely fine. And then Aguero as well, obviously. But I think Ibrahimović is one that we're going to really. Yeah, he's certainly put himself. I mean, the last 20 years, he's absolutely as one of the greatest 9s of the last. There is no argument about that. If you look at the clubs he has played for as well, they are literally the best clubs in world football. Juve in Barcelona, AC Milan, PSG, Man United. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Can you think of anyone else who's decorated like that, like clubs-wise?
I mean, I'm looking at Higuain. He's got Real Madrid, Napoli, Juve, Milan, and Chelsea. You know what I mean? Aguero's now had Atletico, Man City, and Barca. But I think in terms of number of clubs that Ibrahimović has had to try different clubs and be successful at every single one, you know what I mean? That is some going that, yeah.
Like, you think of longevity, you think of Seedorf, maybe Ajax, Real Madrid, AC Milan.
Real Madrid.
Was that it?
You said Real Madrid.
Yeah, Real Madrid. Yeah, as well. Yeah. But as you say, he's got double them numbers, and that's quite phenomenal. But
I'm interested to see where Aguero goes from here. I think Aguero would start obviously going up because he was, he's obviously scored a load, hasn't he?
Yeah, just a quick word on Higuain and Cavani.
Cavani, I mean, he made his name at Napoli. He went to PSG. I don't think it ever worked out for him at PSG, even though he scored good goals. The fact that he had Neymar there and Mbappe, and it wasn't, sometimes he was sort of left out and played out wide. I don't think he was fully appreciated. I think Cavani's movement, again, when he's come here, if you listen to the core comms, when they speak about Cavani, Man United playing, his movement's really good. He's best. I think he's one of the best in the world at making that run across the near post. So a defender's covered the near post, he makes double movement. So he goes sort of right to make the defender think he's that way, and then he just sort of shoots in front of him. Little touch in the goal. You watch Man United last season when might be the season when his first season was, he kept coming off the bench, and the amount of times he scored goals at the near post, whether it's a header or a little touch, that dart in front of the defender. It literally is one of the best in the world at him. And Higuain, I think, you look at the clubs, he's played for some of the best in the world again, and his numbers are brilliant. I just felt for there seems to be always these Argentinian strikers, but you're always with Messi. So if Messi wants to play as a false nine, they're not going to play another one. Do you know what I mean? And then it felt like Higuain had to play wide, or Aguero had to play like some weird. Do you know what I mean? It was always a case of fitting Messi in. But they had some brilliant nines in Argentina.
Yeah, and it's also the pressure of playing with Messi as well.
Yeah.
Like that can't be easy. People think, oh, it must be amazing playing with Messi, and I can guarantee you it is. But it's the pressure of missing chances and letting someone like that down. And also a lot of the play has to go through Messi, whereas at club level, you find a lot more of the ball a lot quicker to your feet. But that's the blessing and the curse of playing alongside the greatest player, in our opinion, all time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, moving on. So we got Aguero again, slightly creeping up his numbers on Cavani. It's kind of like a horse race. So we're almost coming to the end now. We've obviously got a new entry.
I think, the new two entries. I've just looked at them in my head. I thought, we're talking greatest number nines, and we're nearly there anyway. But for me,
so this is actually the end. Yeah. So this is it
right? Okay,
yeah. 2019.
I'd like you to just sort of play it through and see what they finish on. So the two new players are Suarez and Lewandowski, and for me, we're talking best number nines the last 20 years. For me, I'm having Suarez, Lewandowski, Aguero, Ibrahimović. And that's probably and obviously Ronaldo as well. But Ronaldo just there for his last 3 or 4 years. Now, I think people got to understand we're not talking greatest goal scorers. We're talking number 9, someone who's played that position throughout their career. Ronaldo's numbers obviously smashed those other 3 out of the water. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But we're effectively saying Ronaldo's last 3 or 4 years playing as a 9 versus them playing as a 9 for the last 15 years. What makes the better 9? If that makes sense. So the numbers. I mean, obviously we'll play it through. We'll see how many sort of.
Yes. So this is actually the end. This is actually the end. Obviously, the person that made this video is a Messi fan, because he waited till the last exact moment that Messi overtook Ronaldo in the 2019-20 season. Obviously, they're still very, very close as things stand. So I'll just take it back 5 seconds to where it actually ended up, so you can see they're actually level at this point.
Yeah.
And then obviously our mate who's done the video has kindly stopped it just where Messi is just ahead. So that's basically.
So I think that's a fair. I mean, the numbers. Like I say, the numbers don't matter. Goals scored, obviously Ronaldo absolutely pisses it, but we're talking about the best 9. So we've got to the end of the video. I've got a question for you. We by the way, neither of us know what we're going to say. Neither of us, we've gone through. I forgot about some of those 9s. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about Haaland. We've not mentioned Haaland simply because he's so young. He's not scored any goals yet. So for you, Chris, who is the best 9 of the last 20 years?
Well, obviously there's loads of great names on there, and there's an argument for, I'd say, 3 or 4. But there was one that creeped onto the list for about, I'd say, about 0.5 seconds. And for me, he is, if we're talking technicalities, he played in the early 2000s, and then obviously had to retire because of injuries. But as an overall number 9, it's got to be Ronaldo, the R9. He is the best number 9 ever. Now, obviously, comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo, it's a little bit unfair, because what you've got, Ronaldo, I'm having to differentiate between them, so I'm going to say R7 and R9. So R9, in the years that he was able to play, obviously he got struck down with injuries. He was absolutely phenomenal. He was easily my best player. I find it difficult to describe how he played, but what I can say, he was very similar to Ronaldo's strengths in that, he was a lethal finisher. He was a big player in the big moments, but he was also almost as skillful as, well, he was more skillful than Messi, if you understand. He was just absolutely phenomenal, and he had the pace, the power. Some of the goals that he scored, especially, he's an all-time scorer for Brazil. For me, he is the number 1, number 9 in the world. Goal scoring wise, it's got to be Cristiano Ronaldo. He is the best goal scorer as a number 9. I'd say that's about as far as I would go with Cristiano Ronaldo being the best at something.
I think absolutely what you said, Mick, and yeah, for those old enough to remember Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo R9, is the best 9, in certain people's opinion. For me, I think it's important to understand what we are asking from a 9. If we're talking, see, a number 9 has got to do a lot more than just score goals. Obviously, it's a massive part of the game to score goals in the penalty box and goals, which is what Ronaldo is doing now in the latter years of his career. Fine. We're talking about Ronaldo, and I'm talking about Suarez doing stuff outside the box, or Lewandowski getting involved. Do you know what I mean? Ibrahimović doing stuff outside the box and affecting the game and getting involved in the build-up to the game. Now, as an overall 9, I think Ronaldo is such a unique player that him playing as a 9, that sounds so stupid. The only argument positive for him you can make is that he scores a shitload of goals. Do you know what I mean? Now, if you just sort of rewind back and everyone will take it, absolutely he's brilliant. There's no doubt about that. But I just think it's such a delicately poised question. I think people are going to listen to this and think this is just a stupid podcast and why are you even having this? It's Ronaldo's got more goals than anyone. Of course, is the best. You're missing the point. Ronaldo's only been a 9 for the last 3 or 4 years. So for us to go in and sort of dissect and look at those players in the last 20 years. So like you, I mean, I think the best number 9, and we watched him because we were lucky enough with obviously Gazzetta Italians on out all the time.
We were lucky enough to be at the right age,
Was. I mean, Ronaldo, I generally think if he doesn't get the injuries, he becomes, and he has the numbers that we're talking now about these two. You know, I mean, he's in that conversation, and he won Ballon d'Ors. You know, I mean, how long did he play? He went for a record amounts. You know, we talk about top clubs. He went there, but apart from that, I think an honourable mention doesn't need to go to sort of Lewandowski, Ibrahimović, and Aguero as well, and it's Suarez to a certain extent, but I'd say more and more sort of those top 2, Lewandowski, Ibrahimović, proper 9s, and they score. You know, Lewandowski still scoring goals for fun. Ibrahimović to keep going at 38, longevity. The clubs they've played for is just like absolutely mind-boggling, and to still keep going as well.
It's like you're saying there that those players that you mentioned, those are numbers players. They're absolutely numbers players. But when you think of the likes of assists and stuff like that, and that's what, you know, we said we weren't going to go with the Messi v Ronaldo. We're not going to. But if you think of Messi, his key strengths are, you know, creativity, you know, his vision, his goal scoring ability. You know, you think of Ronaldo's, his mentality, his finishing, his end product. And if you think of Ronaldo R9, it's a combination of all of those things. You know, you could maybe question at times Messi's mentality. You know, has he got the strength of mentality when he's taking his penalties, for example? You know, you can question Ronaldo's vision. You can't question R9's overall package. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, Messi's still the best. I believe Messi is still the best player in the world. But as far as a complete package goes, R9 is, for me, the best number 9 of the
you made an interesting point. We talk about weaknesses for Ronaldo and Messi, and you think you've nailed it. I think Ronaldo, for Messi, is it his mentality for the penalties, maybe, and I think the other for Ronaldo is his teamwork. Because if you think Ronaldo scores for himself, I don't care anyone says he does not score for the team. It's all about him and the record, whereas Messi's not. So there are 2 weaknesses there. But I think you've summed that up really well. You know, about Ronaldo and R9. I still think Messi is a freak. You know what I mean? I think you know, you talk. He's just a freak. Stuff that he does, and you know, like I always said, Ronaldo is one of those. He does things brilliantly that other players can do, but he does them consistently. Messi does stuff that no one can do. Just him can do.
But that's a good point. That's a good point that you made there. Like, you know, you think of, we've always had great goal scorers, but we've not had the level that the likes of Messi and R9 done it consistently, like all around ability. Like, you know, they chipped in with just about everything. So it's very rare that you see that type of player. They're the once in a lifetime players, but that takes nothing away from Cristiano Ronaldo. He is absolutely a phenomenal. Phenomenal is not even enough.
So with that being said, as always, we get towards the end of the show, and it's question of the day. So today's question of the day is shock horror. Is Cristiano Ronaldo, the best number 9 of the last 20 years? We've obviously given you some options to you know, sort of think about and mull over. I'd imagine Man United fans and Real Madrid fans will say yes, But we're hoping we get more than just Man United and Real Madrid fans as viewers. So please let us know down below. And as Chris said, if we always say this, you get this far and you like what we say, if you've heard, like the content, interested in either, whether it's our voice or the content, either one's fine by us. Just give us a subscribe, like, and we always do. So if you do comment and get involved in any of our social media stuff or on this this video, we do respond and get back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we wanted to spark a debate, especially in the comments and what have you. Be respectful of each other's views. We don't care if you scream at us and tell us how crap our views are. I couldn't get less. But it'd be nice to have all your comments down below. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Obviously, we will be updating the fantasy football thing very soon. Obviously, we've got a bit of a giveaway.
I think we might need to play a wild card because we're fucking miles off.
I think we will.
Chris picked the team and I need to pick it now. With his shit
let's not give it away on this one. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. It's been great. Cheers.
Bye.